initially when she begins to breed, she's young and she's new at it. And, you know, nature just doesn't have it all put together in her yet. So she might start off with 1 cub. And then after that, 2 or 3 cubs would be normal. She may have even more, she might have less, depends on food sources. Her best years are going to be maybe from about the age of 8 years into her early teens. When I say early teens, you say, well, how long is a bear going to live out there? Well, a bear's going to live out there for as long as they don't get killed. Bears really can live over 20 years. They've been known to live in the wild for 30 years, believe it or not. That's a long, long time in the wild. Wild is more like 18 years, maybe just over 20. In captivity, I think it's 40 years. One of them went. But that's under perfect ideal conditions, you know. So early teens from 8 years old, so she's got maybe, I don't know, 7 years of her best breeding. And if they're putting out 2, 3 cubs every year, and then they breed, and that many cubs come, you can see where those numbers come from that Doug was talking about up in Maine, that study that they did up there. Because they have a lot of years that they can breed before they've gone. When they breed, there's something in the bear that's unique. It's called a delayed implantation. The bear will be impregnated in June, July, but now, this little baby bear in there, this little egg, this impregnated egg, does not get planted in the uterine wall. It floats, just floats around the uterus for months, just floats around. You say, well, why is that? Because the bear has to have sufficient weight to survive the winter, because baby's born during the winter. So the bear needs to have sufficient weight to survive the winter, for the bear to survive, baby to survive, and then for them to live through the spring until they can start getting better food. Therefore, a female needs to be more at the top of her weight range, about 150 pounds, before this will implant into the uterine wall. So this delayed implantation is what the bears have. Well, they got a 7 to 8 month gestation. They go to den mid-October to late November. They don't fatten up until November. So by November now, nature knows whether it should plant that egg or not. So that means that with a 7 or 8 month gestation, babies being born, well, depending on when it might get planted, I mean, they could actually be born as early as late December, but more like January, February, babies are born. So you're looking at probably 10 weeks of actual development from maybe mid-November to February, something like that. It's probably 10 weeks it all happens, 2.5 months out of a 7 to 8 month gestation. Nature does that to protect the babies and to protect the mother. So then when the babies are finally born, they come out looking like that. Look at the nails. You see Mother Bear passing that? Yeah. I hope they come out soft like bones do, you know, and then they harden up in the air. So she might have 1, 2, 3. They weigh less than a pound when they're born. Might be a 12-ounce baby. The length could be the length of a dollar bill, or the height of the bear, the length of the bear, say the length of a dollar bill. Their eyes are closed. They're hairless. Weighing less than a pound when they're born. They'll come out of den a few months later, weighing 4 to 6 pounds. So in that short time, they'll pack on that much weight. in the den feeding off the mother. Now, if the mother has multiple babies, you can see why nature is doing this delayed implantation thing. She really needs to be bulked up to pull this off. Babies will stay with the mother for a year and a half. I said in the year and a half, the 18 months, she teaches them everything she can. She'll go back to den the following winter with the babies. She's not going to breed that year. It's every other year now. She'll come out of den at the end of that winter, and that 18-month baby now gets kicked loose. Be gone. Time for me to do it again. You say, how many bear do we have in New Hampshire? Well, if you didn't see that slide, if you didn't see those numbers, how many would you think? You know, you think we have a lot, you think we don't have a lot. Some people say we have a lot of bear. They're everywhere. No, they're not. Because today's numbers, the current numbers, this goes up to 2010. The current numbers at 2014-15 are about 5,000. They're estimating maybe 5,700, and this is from Andy Timmons, the bear biologist. He's another good one too. If you ever get a chance to hear him talk, he is the biologist. He is the expert on this stuff. That's his job at Fish and Game, is to do bear management on a 10-year plan. All the animals are managed on a 10-year plan scientifically, and Andy Timmons is the guy doing bears. So he says right now it's probably about 5,700. In the different sections of the state, we have in every county, by the way. We got 10 counties, we got bear in every one, right down to the Mass line we got them, because they're in Massachusetts too. You can see that the numbers are pretty close to what they want. Now, in the management plan, they try to manage the number of any animal, whether it's deer, bear, moose. They try to bounce it off of what the habitat can handle, food sources that are out there as part of habitat, human complaints, population growth, expanding communities. They weigh all this in. When they factor all that in, they try to determine how many animals each area of the state can hold and do justice to the animals. So the numbers are fairly close to their objective. White Mountains, they want to decrease, and still to this day, they want to decrease the number of bears. You say, in White Mountains, this is their territory, this is their habitat. It's mountainous, it's hilly, it's timber, it's everything a bear loves, and that's true. But you know who else likes it? We do. We go up there and we break into that habitat and we build our dream house up on the ridge or somewhere, and we interfere with the bear habitat. And then the bear shows up in the backyard, and we, the human, pick up the phone, call Fish and Game, and say, something needs to be done about this. There's a bear in my backyard. Well, fool, your house is in the bear's backyard. But Fish and Game is responsive to everybody in the state, and they really do try to mitigate these complaints. And one way of doing it is bring down the population. So the bear won't be in the backyard, he can stay in the woods and have enough food. So that's why in the White Mountains they want to decrease numbers. We just said that we have human conflict. People pick phones up and they call Fish and Game. Well, there's how many times they call Fish and Game. You know, what's the bulk of the complaints? Bear. Now, bear is only 5,700 animals. Raccoon. How many raccoon we got in the state? We got a lot more than 5,700. Why aren't we complaining about, 15,000 raccoons? Well, because people understand more about a raccoon than they do a bear. We don't see as many bear. We don't understand as much about bear. We sometimes have a fear of bear. And that fear is what generates these complaints. It's not the bear is a problem. We, the human, we're a bigger part of the problem. But Fish and Game has to do something. Well, if you look at this graph, and by year, here are your number of complaints, you know, roughly, and carried out to here, I'm not sure where we are currently. But what the point of this picture is, most of the complaints are property and fear and personal threat and so on, a bunch of bogus stuff. It's not a true, actual complaint. You know, agricultural damage, he's eating my crops, he's destroying my fields, he's trampling my corn, he's taking my chickens. The complaints aren't coming from the farmers, they're coming from the rest of us. The rest of us that mostly don't understand the bear. Well, because we have these complaints, and because Fish and Game is responsive, they're going to do something about it. So how are we going to get rid of the complaints? How are we going to mitigate? How are we going to take care of the conflicts? We've got different ways of doing it. Why do we have the complaints? Look at the population growth. Look what's going on here. And anybody that has lived in this state for many years, you know, maybe your lifetime, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen New Hampshire change. You know, I have seen New Hampshire go from something that was mostly rural to southern New Hampshire looking more like, almost like Boston area, Massachusetts now. I think the day is coming where it'll be like Somerville and Cambridge and all that. It'll just be houses, no trees, and somewhere I crossed the town line and I never knew it. I fear that southern New Hampshire may come to that. If it does, what are we doing to habitat? What are we doing to animal habitat? Where do the animals all go? They don't go away, not all of them. They stay here with us, they adapt to us. We're a food source and they know that. Somehow in their mind they connect us to food and they stick around. And when they stick around, people complain. Who causes the complaints? Remember I said you go up in the mountains, you build your house up on a ridge line in the bear country, the ideal bear country. This is my dream house, my piece of heaven. Well, don't complain about the bears, they're part of heaven. When you lose all the forest, the bears don't have as much food out there, they're going to be more apparent. And then we don't take down bird feeders. Well, if we do take them down, 1st of April, and then don't put them back up till around 1st of October or something like that, or 1st of November. You know, some people want to take care of birds all year, but actually they do well in the summer. You know, we like to see them, so we feed them, but they don't really need us in the summer. But in the winter, it's different. But the bear is tucked away by then anyway. But what's the biggest thing happening in this picture? What is the worst thing that's happening here? I mean, the bear is being lured into the human space, and the bear is losing its fear of humans by coming into that space. And we're causing that to happen. But what's the mother teaching those babies? So who's going to be back next year and the year after and the year after? Now I've said garbage and garbage and garbage. And this is why I've said garbage. Because that is the Bear's 5-star restaurant, right there. This is everything they want, is in that dumpster. It's a great variety. We need to put steel lids on them. We need to have steel closing doors. We need something the bear can't open. We need to secure our garbage at home. Put inside a shed, inside the garage. Oh, I said we lure the bear into the human space. Okay? bear comes into the human space, loses its fear of humans. Bad things can happen. This bear has lost fear of humans. This bear is losing more fear of humans right there. And what's the term for that picture? Stupid. I like it. You didn't hear it from me. I gotta be politically correct. He said it. But very seriously, you can't do this. You just can't do this because you're gonna get that bear killed. You know, you've heard the term, a fed bear is a dead bear. Well, it's true. When they lose the fear of us, they come to us. They hang around our house, and then they get killed. This is a real picture. This is Berlin, New Hampshire. This is another real picture. This is Whitfield, New Hampshire. This is a bear with 5 cubs. Nature didn't make 5 babies. Nature let the bear have 5 babies because the bear packed on a whole lot of pounds because the bear ate a whole lot of bird seed, hundreds of pounds of bird seed. And a guy over there was putting out and the bears were eating it. Well, when the bear bred, internally, it looked like there was a lot of food available. Well, it was, but it was phony. It wasn't real. So nature said, okay, here's 5 for you, Mama. Well, we have this pumped up supposed food source that's out there caused by human. So the mother has more babies than what she can probably handle, but more than what the habitat can handle. And if this happens to her and another one, pretty soon the habitat is overrun by bear that can't be supported. When they can't find food there, they're going to come to us. In a tough winter, when they can't find food in the woods, all the animals will come out of the woods and they'll come to us. You know, a fisher is a very solitary animal. I've seen them running around in the middle of Manchester in the winter looking for food. In a bad, bad winter. Oh, another cause of conflict is this house was built somewhere back there. There's a house, and this was old farm country, you know, apple trees still growing wild out there. And somebody put a house up, and the bear's been, you know, for generations they've been there, and now they're going to complain because there's a bear at their house. So how can we get rid of some of this conflict? What have they done to try to abate the conflict? Well, if you take that down, that's a good start. That's one way of taking care of a conflict, isn't it? So the fed bear is a dead bear. The bear lost the fear of humans. Something drew the bear into the house. Well, maybe we got a tub of dog food right here or something. It could have been set outside, feeding the dog outside. The wild animals come and eat it. The bear will come and eat it. Through an open screen door, perhaps. Bear could smell that because they got that great sense of smell. The bear came in the house, no fear of humans. And the homeowner shot it. There's a bear in my house, I killed it. That's not the end we want. That's not the resolution that we're after. So we've got other ways of doing it. You know, direct control, take down the bird feeders, abatement materials. You can get fencing from Fish and Game to try out, see if it works, and go buy your own. Education, materials, posters, technical assistance, call them up. Compensation. Damage done to the farms, they compensate the farmers. And hunting. There's some of the literature available from Fish and Game. Just go up and ask them. It's all there. No charge. You'll see these around somewhere. Take down the bird feeder. A little self-help goes a long way. We don't need to call Fish and Game. Garbage control. Noise. Rubber bullets. Rubber shot. That's used. It runs them off for a while. Fencing. This guy got the beehives fenced off. self-help there. Hunting, that can take out numbers, it can bring down the overall population. Remember I said Fish and Game wants to manage overall population. In any unit in the state, we gotta balance the numbers off to the habitat, so hunting is a tool. The excess animals out there, when seasons are set, hunting seasons, you know, you have to take so many animals you can have. Well, bear season has a limit, you know, you get one bear a year. It's also got a season, start date, end date. But there have been years where bear kill happened so quickly, and the numbers accrued so quickly that they shut the season off early. Right, so it's not just open for free kill for, you know, 2 months, go out and take all you can out of there. Fish and Game says we only want to lose this many this year. And from this area, this many, hopefully, and so on and so on. So hunting takes that surplus out. Relocation, this is a trap. It's a poor idea. It is a terrible idea. I've done it myself a couple of times. I had a job where I did this. Awful idea. A bear can come back. If the bear leaves, another animal fills in behind it. I'm talking about even if you're trapping raccoons and skunks out of your backyard. Something is there for them that brought them there. You trap them all summer if you want, but they're going to keep on coming. So it's not going to solve much. Bears trying to cross highways, going back to its old habitat, gets hit by cars, shows up in people's yards trying to find its way back. You can move sickness around, depending what kind of animal you're trapping, relocating. You can put too many animals into a certain habitat, and that's not good either. Trapping is an awful idea. They do less than 10 a year right now in Fish and Game. Oh, how about we don't feed them? People won't listen, so we make laws. So now we got some town ordinances we can't feed. Lincoln, New Hampshire. They passed a law, and you can see what the number of complaints were over there. They had a real high in 2001. Right after that, the ordinance went into effect, and it took a little while for it to catch on, but with enforcement and with education and compliance, look where the complaints went in 2008. Isn't that great? Well, now that's maybe less bears are going to be killed because of no good reasons. Less time Fish and Game has to waste, or anybody else has to waste, chasing down complaints. And then, as things were good, you know, the enforcement was eased up because we figured out people know now, but all of a sudden, you know, people started doing it again. So you got to stay on it. But that proves it works. So if it works, when you make a law that says don't feed the bears, then who's the cause of all the complaints? Not the bear. With federal money, with this Pickman-Robertson money, this Wildlife Restoration Act money provided by the sportsmen, we can have scientific research. So now the old pen and pencil way of doing it that I said we were doing. We were accounting for bear numbers by how many bear reports, sightings, how many hit by cars, roadkills, how many taken out during hunting season, how many were found winter kill, and so on. All these numbers tallied up on bear and on deer and on moose. And from that, they could estimate what the bear population was in the state of New Hampshire. But now we got federal money, so now we're going to get smart. We're going to do it scientifically. This is more like a study of bear complaints, if you want to word it in plain English. So, they went out in Berlin, Lincoln, Bethlehem, Milan, all these areas up there, and they started up a study. They radio collared the animals. They would would capture them, they would drug them, put the collars on them. Collars would send back signals and they could track the bear. They could establish habitat use, they could establish home range for male versus female. And you can see him working some out of the den right there. And they studied ranges. They studied where the bears were going on certain days. And they were studying complaints. And what they found on some of these complaints, because of signals coming in from the callers told them which bears were showing up in certain areas. So what bears are causing the complaints? And that was what they were trying to do with this radio collaring. They found that mostly they were adult females, and a few bears produced the bulk of the complaints. In other words, not all the bears were doing it. There were only a few that were coming in and causing these problems. So how do you fix that? Well, they said maybe hunting, but hunting will kill bears across the board. That's overall population management. That's not targeting a single problem bear. So if you want to use hunting to kill the problem, you go out and you kill the problem bear. That one is up on a feeder, it looks like. So anyway, as we tried mitigating these complaints with different techniques, the noise, the rubber bullets, rubber shot, dogs, they chased them with hounds. What happened? How well did it work? I'll tell you that the rubber bullets and the noise did not work as well as the dogs. The dogs did a better job. They drove them off farther for a little bit longer, but they all came back. I don't care how they did it, the bears came back. They could not fix the problem by any of this. And that's what these few graphs that are coming up here show. So I'm not going to get into this stuff here, but I'm just going to tell you that, like on this one, you can see where they were before they shot them with the rubber bullets. They hit them with rubber bullets. An hour later, where'd they go? 2 hours later, where were they? 3 to 12 hours, where were they? They're coming right on back. See all those green dots? They're coming right back. The dogs chased them out further, but they all came back. So now, we want to study how many how many bears we have in the state of New Hampshire. Scientifically, no more pencil and paper. So we're going to use DNA testing, genetic tagging. Federal money is going to let them do DNA testing. So they picked some areas to do the study. I had said Milan, Pittsburgh, Bethlehem, Laconia, all these places. Well, this study was done in these 2 areas. They gridded off the areas and they set one trap in each grid square, held one trap. The trap consisted of bait. They used corn. They used sweet-smelling scent rags. And around the food, they put barbed wire. Now, why they put barbed wire around the food? Because when the bear crosses the wire to get the food, the bear leaves hair. We're doing DNA testing. Hair contains DNA. They gathered it up, they sent it to the lab. They studied it with all this federal money, and they came up with an answer. The old way versus the scientific way. And what do you think? What do you think the answer was? How close do you think they might have been? Which way do you think might have been better? Which way was a more accurate count? There's your numbers. And you can see they're pretty close. So the old way, the old pencil and paper, answer the phone, make the tick marks on the paper, was just as good as a scientific study. You say, oh, that was a waste of time, wasting money, but no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't, not at all. Because that proved the numbers were correct. It proved that New Hampshire had a good way of doing it, and it shows that in the future, we don't need to spend the federal money to do this again. Now we can use it for something else, maybe more directly helping the animals. So it was a good study, and it had a good purpose. And all this bear management, this 10-year plan, which, by the way, is being redone this year. The 10-year plan is being done this year for the deer, the moose, the bear, all the game animals out there, probably non-game too. I don't know how many animals they do the 10-year plan for, but definitely all the game animals. It is in the process of being done right now. Fish and Game is having public meetings right now for it, and they are requesting public input. Fish and Game is the most responsive state department up there when it comes to taking public input. They listen, and they will, sometimes they'll change their minds based on what the public is telling them, believe it or not. And I don't know how many government agencies we can say do that. Because Fish and Game is not a government agency so much as it is self-funded, and it's funded by the sportsmen. So all that government money is what's managing this bear population out there and doing these studies and hopefully helping the animals as well as the humans and mitigating the complaints and everybody living happily ever after. And that's what it's all about. So, thank you very much. Anybody has any questions, we'll see if we can answer them for you. Yes, ma'am.
You say that the ticks are bothering moose and deer and the baby moose, they're really, do they get to the bears or a different kind of skin, hide?
I imagine the bear gets ticks on them like the moose do, but they certainly don't have the problem that the moose have with a winter tick, not at all.
Huh.
Nothing like that. That's
Why?
these deer ticks. You'll find them on the deer. You'll find the ticks on the moose by the hundreds of thousands.
Baby moose, they say they're just sucking the life out of
They
it.
are. Yeah, and even a big moose, even an adult. I mean, if you got 200,000 ticks sucking the blood out of the moose, even a big moose is going down from that. So no, the bear don't have that problem. Yes, sir.
There's a lot of auto deer strikes about bears. Are they in the way of automobiles generally, or?
Not as much.
Okay.
No, not as much. And I don't know why. We have less numbers, for one thing. I mean, deer, 70,000, 70 to 80. Somebody told me that there were some numbers put out recently talking about 100,000 or more in the state. I doubt that. I mean, that's my personal opinion, is I doubt that. But I think that if you said that we have a good herd out there right now at around 80,000, I think that's a doable number. So if you compare with 5,700 bears that are very solitary, that's probably the answer. I don't know really why, but we do have less. Yes?
For the first time in my life, a few autumns ago, I saw a fisher cat.
Yeah.
And I was astounded. Are fisher cats making a resurgence? Or was I just happy to have that
Fishers are
experience?
being seen more in the southern part of the state than ever before.
I saw one in Wellington Road last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to be a northern animal, but they have now made their way all the way to the south. Why?
Turkeys have become a good food source for them as well. As house cats, they like house cats. So if you let your house cat out, you want to know why it didn't come back.
Foxes get your house cat too, they love those. Coyotes.
Once in a while in the summertime, at night, you'll hear the blood hurling, screaming out of the woods. And you know, people say it's a fisher, some people say it's porcupine, I have no idea.
Some people say fisher, gray fox can make some weird noises out there as well. What do you think, Doug?
Fox can scream something, as well as a bobcat. Bobcat will scream.
Gray fox can make some really strange noises out there.
I've heard of a porcupine scream. There are a lot of animals that they were being killed, a rabbit can scream something terrible
Oh, really?
when he's being killed. Absolutely, yeah. That's how they call coyotes and fox and whatnot, is with calls that are of a dying rabbit when it screams.
Right, yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So, a bear needs, I mean, 0.5 bears per square mile?
He doesn't need that, that's what they found was there.
What does a bear really need?
I don't know.
We don't really know, it depends on habitat. If it was close to where there was no feed, he'd take a big territory.
Because then they have, 3 babies and most bears need.
Right,
That's right.
right, and they need a balance of different habitat as well. So if you're saying, well, how many bear per square mile is the ideal number, I don't know, because what is the mix of habitat so they can have food spring, summer, fall?
Oh, got writing on it.
Because it all balances on that. Different parts of the state offer different habitat. Habitat is not just food. You know, habitat is your food, your water, your shelter, your cover,